could run a horizontal version, but I'm just being lazy.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
I wouldn't. I don't know that it would get too much traction anyway. Maybe. We have quite a few people in the community that are part of the LGBTQ community. God.
I'm just sad that like June's already almost over. I like haven't really. Well, I sort of did like a pride. We went to like a pride party earlier in the month, but like I haven't like gone to it very much. But we were out of town for a while too.
Do they do a big pride parade in Omaha?
Yeah, but that doesn't. Omaha doesn't do it until July. I think it's just because they realize like Kansas City, Minneapolis, Denver, Chicago. Those are bigger cities that are doing Pride in June.
Hey, Lindsay, nice to see you. Thanks for the follow.
Doing
Guys-
Pride in July because everybody else does it in June is like the parents who don't do Halloween on the 31st because it falls on a weekday. It's just lame. I'm sorry.
It is. No, it really is. Like, and I don't know why, but they started. Well, I guess it was maybe like COVID, but they started like doing it indoors. So it's like actually like the Pride event is.
This just sounds exactly like that. Hey, we're not going to do it on the 31st because it's on a Tuesday, but on Saturday we're going to do it indoors, kids. Come to the rec center. And all the kids are like, this sucks. We want regular trick-or-treating on Tuesday night.
If I just want to make an announcement, if you guys are following me and you're here, make sure to drop a... What do you want us to call you? Just DR?
Yeah, that's totally fine. DR.
Okay. Drop DR a follow there. He makes music, great music. I saw him live. That's how we met. Great music. All right. I guess maybe 2 more minutes. We'll go to 6:10. Hey, Seth.
That's gonna be
Hey,
walking in our Pride parade. And
Oh, really?
I think doing a booth at the like event itself. Also, you gotta like pay like $20 to get into the event, and it's like, what is up with that too? I don't know why they're doing that. But at least that like goes towards scholarships that they give out. So that's really cool. They give out like one for like a high school student, one for like college age, one for like an adult, and I can't. But they're all LGBTQ.
M says you're scared of him, Benny.
I am M-phobic.
We are all
I told
M
them request
phobic.
that.
Yeah.
Come on, Em. Request that.
Ems?
Let's see who's scared of who, Ems.
No, I concede already, Ems. You win.
Ems's voice, I've never got, like, I don't know that anybody's seen his face, but I just imagine that he's a very beautiful man.
I haven't seen his face, but I have seen X-rays of his bone. Like I've seen his bones.
Okay, cool. I don't. Okay. Anyway. Ems, you are more than welcome to request up and hang out.
Yeah, Ems, you're part of the LGBTQ community, aren't you? No, I'm just kidding. I have no.
I don't think he is. I don't know if actually I don't. I have no clue.
Ally is one of the letters. So.
Facts. Ems is definitely an ally, if nothing else. Bro using it as an insult. He's getting canceled.
I love Em so much.
Our local ex-Muslim.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're going to start the conversation, guys. It is 6:10. Our other guests hopefully will show up. But we're gonna start the conversation. So,
Okay, before you do, you guys just keep tapping the screen for me. Don't forget, Joyful has a gift goal of the hats and the mustaches. If you have the coin, please send those up. If you don't have enough for that, but you've got a little bit of extra coins, send up the roses, lightning bolts to any of the people up here. It doesn't matter who. Just gifting in general just helps boost us out. But also, don't forget, Joyful is trying to get back up to over 100 subbies. So if you have not subscribed, please think of doing so today. You're subscribed to Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, and the Disney Channel, and you're never watching any of them because you're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. I know, because I see you're here, okay? So cancel some of your subscriptions, save yourself some money, and then come over here and subscribe to Joyful today, okay? And if you are over on YouTube, thank you for joining us tonight. We love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to Joyful, like the show over there, and do all the good things over there too. All right, let's go.
right on. So, I was gonna start off by asking DR a few questions. So, you gave a little bit about yourself. Like, you used to be involved in church, right?
Yeah, so I don't know how in depth y'all want me to go with this, because I can go.
Just go, and we'll stop and ask questions.
So basically, I grew up in church, and my entire life, pretty much ever since high school, was devoted to youth group and Bible studies, and got to be there on Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday night, doing all of it. Like, and us as kids, we practically lived at the church because we were just there all the time. And like, I just got involved. I was like 15, 16 years old, and singing in church. That's where it all starts. It's kind of, for all of us, who are, I don't want to say all, but for a lot of people who are in music, that's where it starts, is church. And it just kind of goes from there. And I always wanted to be like I guess a quote unquote like Christian artist and doing all the things. And I wanted to be a pastor and all this stuff. And years and years later, 20 years later of it, I became one. And so I was a pastor. I was a young adults pastor at one period point in time. I was an artist, if you will, and I just wasn't. I knew that there was a lot of things going on inside of me that I just didn't want to face, and I didn't want to deal with the aftermath of those things. And I knew that if I said it, I would basically lose everything and everybody. So I kept my mouth shut.
That's awful. That's so frustrating.
Yeah. No, I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and because my mom actually passed in 2020. So, because I was living out in Nashville at the time, and like that whole year was just, it was mental for everybody. 2020 touched everyone in so many different aspects. I have friends who got divorced after 2020 because they couldn't deal with living together with their boyfriends or girlfriends or spouses, for all that time. But I digress. I ended up, and my mom, she was diagnosed with dementia at the beginning of 2020, the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020. And then she went into a hospice care kind of situation, memory care kind of situation, and then passed away a couple of days before my birthday in November of 2020.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So sorry.
Thank you.
Wow.
I don't remember who it was in the comment section said June is also men's mental health awareness month. I am a big advocate of mental health. I'm a big advocate of therapy and talking to somebody. whether that's your best friend, whether that it's just somebody that you trust, because I don't know where I would be at all if I would not have went to therapy. And actually, I actually know exactly where I would be. I would have killed myself, to be completely transparent. That's where I was.
Oh, you can't say that on here, okay? So you can say I would have self-deleted, or
Well,
Unalived, yeah.
Not alive. But I will say all of that. Like I said, I haven't done this in a long time. I haven't done TikTok in a long time. But I don't think I would be where I'm at without the friends and the family that stuck by me through those really difficult situations. And the one thing I learned through all of that was your people are here. Your people are waiting for you, to be your authentic self, so they can show up. And it's funny how that happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's very similar. Very similar to my story. Not quite the same, but just grew up in church. I was an associate pastor for 10 years. Just everything. I have 12 siblings. All of them are still evangelical Christians. But at some point, and I don't know where you stand on whether Christianity is true or not, or what capacity. I'm not trying to assume that. For me, it was total deconstruction and removal of it. And I have a daughter and a son who are both gay. The rest of my family, all my siblings, my parents think it's a sin and think that we're perpetuating sin in our kids' lives and we're leading them to hell and all the stuff that comes with it. So I spent a long time not wanting to deconstruct, and even when I was deconstructing, trying to make all this stuff fit inside the Bible, because at least then I'm still a Christian. But then at some point it was no, this is bad. This isn't good. It's not good for me. I'm not being authentic. I'm perpetually depressed and all sorts of things. And then you're just there's no other option but to give into it and be either that or self-deleting. And that's where I got to. It was one or the other.
Yeah, that deconstruct process for me was vital, because when I moved back to where I'm at right now from Nashville, I have a lot of Christian friends. I have a lot of church friends that know me or knew me before I came out. So going back into that world, as you would think, would be horrendously scary. Very, and like I said, I came out and lost about a big chunk of friends. Pretty much not. I won't say all of them, but I would definitely say about 85% of them. And having to literally start over. And I think that, but the ones that did stick around and stay, they get to know me in a level and capacity that they would have never, they've never seen me in this way before. Which in some for some it's I always knew. But it's no, this was funny. But but no, it's just really cool, just being able to be authentic. And I've had multiple conversations with other people who, aren't out, who are still in that Christian bubble. And to kind of go along with, to piggyback on what you were just talking about, I still have faith. I still, that's hard to lose. You're talking 30 years of, of this, and it's hard to completely step away from something you've known your entire life. And so I have a really good church out here that are just very loving, like just all inclusive. Like it's a very safe place. But I would invite some of my, one of my friends, one of my best friends. He's trans, and so you have I have many different types of friend groups, and I would not want to bring anybody into a space where they would feel uncomfortable or unwelcome. And I had to just, like I said, just ixnay most of the churches that I used to do ministry in, which is a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that, like, we do debate Christians on this. I told you that we debate religious things, but we do have a lot of friends that come through, and they even come up on the panels with us to talk with most of the Christians, because most Christians, unfortunately, are bigots. Most Christians are the unsafe people. And so, like, we actually have friends that come up and will debate alongside us with Christians on some of these topics, like when we do LGBTQ lives and stuff like that. So, yeah, we do not, yeah. I'm just saying that keeping your faith, I don't think, is an issue. It's the hurt that some people use the faith to do that is an issue.
And it's funny you just said that, because I was that person. Like, I was that person to a lot of people. And I think that I've had to own up to my own shortcomings, realizing that I don't have it all figured out. I can know the Bible backwards and forwards and in Latin and whatever, but knowing the Bible doesn't mean you're living it. Doesn't mean you're loving people any deeper than what you think you are. And I think that so for me, I'm like, I have to, like I said, own up to the way I came off to some people, because I've literally had to have conversations with some of my old friends and just people in general. It's like, man, I cannot even believe I said the things that I said, because I had no idea what I was talking about. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just creating more trauma for other people. And when you really kind of take a step back and you look at it that way, it's pretty jarring.
Yeah, and my wife, like, was very supportive of my daughter when she came out. She came out as only liking girls when she was 11. She's 15 now. 11, and she's 15 now. And, like, my wife was very accepting. She had already, like, deconstructed a lot from the church. I was still very active in the church, and like I never said anything crazy to my daughter, like, but I told her it was that she needed to fight those urges, that she needed to find solace in God and things like that. And now I'm just like, that was my worst moment in parenting. I failed that completely. J Cal, thank you so much for the $5 super chat over on YouTube. Praise Doug. Praise Doug.
That'd be J Cal. Yeah, YouTube chat is wild right now.
No, I know. I knew they were it. Yeah, I knew that there was going to, and we don't have like any moderators in there, so it's just going wild.
Oh, yeah, I have no access to YouTube right now, so I can what I'm talking about. But I will say this, like I think in respect, because I don't know, you and your daughter, I would never, say anything but I will say props to you for, learning and growing as a father. Props to you for, hey, like seeing, hey, this is, I want to create this kind of atmosphere for my kids to, be themselves and to learn and discover, and not take the reins off as a parent, whatever, but you're allowing them to just be themselves, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think like another hard thing for me is like kind of being making sure I'm keeping them safe from family members, especially that are damaging things. Like we've had a lot of issues with that, and like half like me even having to push away a little from them because it's like this isn't safe for my two kids. Like and like trying to have those conversations with them, but it just they don't hear it. They don't understand it. I think a lot of it, like doing the LGBTQ topics when debating, I think it's more of a conversation starter to because I think a lot of it is the lack of understanding. People just don't really know that like most of the things they say are just absolutely factually false. Like I think it's just a lack of education on the subject that leads a lot of people there. Some people are just like so caught in their ways that they are never going to budge. It doesn't matter what you tell them. But I think the conversations do need to happen for a lot of people, and it will bring a lot of people around. And we've seen that here on the channel. People be like, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. People that came up first being like complete assholes, to be frank. And then like towards the end, they're like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that. So yeah.
It wasn't like I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm going to be completely honest. If it wasn't for everything that happened with my mother, I don't know if I would have came out. I don't know if I would have. I know I probably would eventually, but it's a shame that it took losing somebody for me to wake up and to see that life is way too short to just be in so I don't want to say, I don't know how to say this, but like just be in such a depressive state. Life is too short not to be your authentic self. I have friends who, like, I'm gonna be 40, which is crazy and crazy concept to me. Because a lot of my friends are like, "You're gonna be 40." I'm like, "Yes, I'll be 39 in November," which is nuts. I'm having a hard time with that number, to be completely honest. But I'm like, I'm just glad that I'm where I'm at right now in the season of my life, knowing myself a little bit better than I did, 10 years ago. It's good.
The crazy thing when I like started to let those parts of me show through and like give into it because like I grew up and I was always ashamed of myself because I found both men and women attractive, but like it was not uncommon for the FAG word to be thrown around in our and like we live in a rural town in Indiana, so it was like the only kids that I knew that were gay were like extremely picked on, and I was told like nasty things about that, like we were taught that God's judgment on them was AIDS.
Yes.
We were taught all sorts of crazy stuff, and so like I thought something was like fundamentally wrong with me because I'm like I find girls and boys attractive, and anytime I felt like I thought a boy was attractive, it was like it was like I felt like I failed. And like when it came to a point where I could finally be like, and I told my wife, I was like, I've never told anybody this, but I find guys attractive too. Like, you're the first person I'm telling. And like, and then like I just kind of own it now. Like, and my parents know, and I'm just like everybody does, because I'm just like life's too short not to live that way. And I'll be 39 in December, so I feel ya. And life's too short not to just love ourselves for who we are and not beat ourselves up for trivial things that don't matter.
I have a lot of I have a lot of friends who are struggling right now, and struggling to accept themselves and loving themselves. You know, not and I'm not. This doesn't even have to go. And I'm not even talking as far as like sexuality. Just loving themselves as human beings in general, with their faults and their flaws and all the things that make us human. You know, and I'm pretty sure that the people who are listening to me talk, whether it's on YouTube or wherever this is going, understand exactly what I'm saying. We all have our stuff that's going on, and it's really hard. Sometimes it's just hard to get up out of bed. When you're in a depressive state, and you don't want to, just do life. But I think that it's so important to, my mom would always tell me, it's like, you need to just take things one step at a time. And I don't think that. I think that every single day is it's, as my pastor used to say, every day is a blessing. You get to experience it, and I would rather experience life being authentic and honest than living any other way. I think that's I've lost the words, but I think you know what I mean. I'd rather live my life authentic.
No, I definitely hear you. Do you spend a lot of time on TikTok?
An unhealthy amount.
Right on.
Probably just scrolling and different things. But as far as like doing TikTok lives and things, I've done now. This is 4 TikTok lives.
Right on.
Life. So it's good.
Okay, so my next question for you would be what do you feel is most beneficial for a channel kind of like what we do, that would be most beneficial for the LGBTQIA community? And you could think about that for a minute. I'll ask Benny a few questions here.
What's
Benny.
Up? What's up?
I don't really like you, but I guess I'll let you talk. So your family wasn't, like you said, you told your dad, like you came out to your dad was just like you saying, "Hey dad, I like guys," and he was like fine with it.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah. It was kind of like lackluster. But that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was like, when I came out, I was 26. I'm 37 now. When I came out, I was 26, and I had girlfriends and stuff before then, which I identify as slightly bisexual anyways, but it's like an 80-20 thing. As far as when I came out though, it was a lot of people basically saying oh, okay, yeah, we kind of knew. So I was waiting for people to be not accepting of it, but it never really came to be. I was really wanting to actually kind of lash out at people that were not accepting of it, and I would be like, why? What's so different about me anymore? I'm the same person, right? But that never happened. So it was. I think I got lucky.
No, that is awesome. I think it's important that everybody. Yeah, I already knew that, but I think it's important to share both ends of the spectrum. There are Benny still has undergone discrimination. So I mean, it isn't it's all just been
No, it's not
Rainbows and
been,
flowers for Benny.
no, it was awful. I mean, like when it comes to like self deleting and stuff and like depression, you know, like I basically convinced myself that I was like asexual for like all of college, you know, and like now I think back on like a lot of the opportunities missed, you know, with all the time that's passed. And now like that's why I kind of like try to be like a stronger like outwardly out person on like TikTok and stuff is because I just want a world where like a kid in school or high school can feel comfortable being themselves and not feel like they have to fit some sort of mold that doesn't, you know, apply to them.
For sex, Golden Eye, for nasty sex. That's what he meant. Like, what do you mean for what?
I don't even know what opportunities was I even talking about. I wasn't even paying attention.
You said you had missed opportunities in college because
Oh,
you for being
for
asexual, and I said
happiness, for
opportunity.
like a relationship, you know, like you know how when you're young and you have your first girlfriend, if you're a straight person, you know, like asking people to a dance, there's opportunities that you can get.
Facts. J Cal, thank you for the $10 super chat. J Cal again, thank you very much. He says, "We are all humans who need to be loved, and the need to give love shows no color, sex, religion. It's just love." Amen, J Cal. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
And thank you for the $10 super chat. That is amazing. Goes a long way, my friend. But you have an answer, Dr.
So to throw back your question, how can you guys be more, I guess, like make more of a difference? Is that kind of where I'm headed?
Yeah, like what do you think like in our discussions would be most impactful for the LGBTQI community? Like yeah, just what do you think like a channel that has these discussions can do more to represent the community and yeah.
I think, well, this right now is awesome. Well, I would just commend all three of you guys, you know, and gal. Like, I will commend all three of you that this just even opening up a platform and putting yourselves in that vulnerable of a place is something that a lot of people would never. Just to, I don't, like, I'm sure you understand and you realize the gravity of what you're doing right now is. But sometimes I think, you know, we're so used to it, we just don't, we just kind of just go along with the flow of it, and we don't even realize what we're doing. Like if I, like I know, for me, I growing up, I was raised in an all white family. I'm adopted, so there was no one who looked like me. I didn't really see it. Like even in high school, there was like two black people. I was one of them. I was one of them.
Really?
It was just I didn't I never really saw it, and it was just my life. You know, it was what it was, and I didn't, you know, I didn't really care. You know, but I I know what it was like when I first saw, you know, an African American singing Christian rock music. I remember those moments. I remember, you know, all these different things. I was like, man, it's possible. Like it's actually possible. I can do that. And 20 years later, you know, I'm fulfilling a dream that 12-year-old me saw. So it was really cool. So I say all that to say, I don't know if I'm pretty sure that people are watching this, that they may be dealing with the same things that we're talking about. And they would never they would never tell anyone. They would never tell a soul. Even the ones that are debating against it, they would never say anything. So it's just like I have to. So I have to commend you guys for what you're doing and the difference that you are making. And so I think creating more content like this, where people can just be themselves, be open, be honest, and having this environment, and then ultimately, yeah, you're gonna have debates. Those are good too. Those are always fun. But at the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, okay, did that go well was it a bust? I don't know, but I think what y'all are doing right now is amazing. So,
Right on.
that answers my question. I don't know if that answers your question to the fullest extent, but
No, I do plan on doing this. I'm going to try, because I'm working on a whole new way of doing the whole show all together. But I want to incorporate this once a month. Happy Pride Day, Pride 365. And well, that's what it says behind me. It was a little low, but I want to do this once a month and put it in the schedule for once a month to have different people up. And you're always welcome back to panel up on those nights. And I will make you aware of it when we're going to do that. But yeah, I plan on doing this at least once a month, because I think that knowledge can change, is a big component in changing things. And I think that's exactly what this kind of conversation does. It gives people knowledge, and it gives people my dad always said basically the most homophobic shit, really nasty stuff. And what I remember as a kid, him getting up in a restaurant and leaving because we had a gay waiter, and we were all leaving.
Totally that.
But now he is actually impacted by it, and so he's trying so hard to he's the only one in my family trying to mesh everything together and make it cohesive. He's trying to be very accepting of my son and daughter. Now he's told me that he thinks that I'm perpetuating it by bringing them to Pride and stuff, which is something that I think he's gonna have to work through. But the more we've talked, the more I've seen just his understanding of it, and it being so close to home was changed a lot for him, and he's trying to change. He's not there. There's a lot of issues there, but he's trying, which is more than the rest of my family. So I do applaud him for that.
See, when I think about it, if my parents, not that they did anything wrong really or anything, but if my parents had taken me to Pride, I don't even know if there was Pride actually. And I'm from a smaller town in the tri-state area of South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. But had I been taken to Pride events and stuff as a kid, I think I would have been more apt to maybe accept myself and not stay in the closet. Same with just how high school and everything was. It was just don't ask, don't tell back in the 90s, 2000s. So it was just well, I guess we'll just never know. And I think it's not perpetuating it if it's just allowing it, it's not really amplifying it. It's just bring it into the conversation and not making it that dirty little secret or something that you don't want to talk about.
And that's really, really good point, Benny, because I was a very right-wing conservative Christian mom, but the LGBTQ thing, I had cognitive dissonance with that, right? Because I was God can't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And he made people this way. So there's got to be something I'm not understanding, because I am not going to hate people because they're in the LGBTQIA. So I know I've told you that I told my kids, I know what the Bible says and I know what church says or whatever, but I'm telling you, in our house, you will not bully people. You will not, you will be their friend. You will be the one to stand up for them. That's how we're going to do it, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I'm such a good mom, right? But it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should have brought them to pride events. I should have, because let's face it, all my kids are gay. Just, I'm just kidding. They would think that was funny that I said that, by the way. No.
My mom
But
said
they
that she
are
wished
members.
all of them were.
they my son is not, he's straight, but his wife is bi, so he would laugh that I said that. But otherwise, yes, my children are all a part of the LGBTQIA or married to somebody in the LGBTQIA. So in one part, like, yeah, it was good job, Crystal. You made them realize that they didn't have to fear coming to you. Yay, pat yourself on the back. But it's really not enough. Like, I really should have done more. I really should have shown more, just like having books, children books with characters who are the LGBTQIA would have been great for them. They didn't have that. I didn't do that. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, just showing them representation, because what I didn't know was they were needing that.
Right. Well,
Because you don't know when they're little that they are a member of the community. They don't always know when they're little they're a member of the community, and you're giving them no representation of who they are.
right. So, like in history, when like being left-handed was like a no-no for a while,
Yeah.
and they thought that, like, well, once being left-handed kind of got to be like more of an accepted thing in society, more people came out as being left-handed, and at first, like, people were thinking that it was contagious or something, that you could like make left-handedness contagious, but no, that's like it's just you're making the environment more accepting. So of course you're going to get more people, you're going to get more trans people, you're gonna get more gay people, but you're not turning people that, like, it's not a choice. It's not really something that you can like catch like a disease or something. It's
No, it's just that
it's just
people
accepted.
are able to be who they are. They're more accepted. They feel empowered. They feel accepted. They feel like it's natural instead of the way we make them feel in this society.
Right.
Uh, Facts. JT, thanks for showing up, man. It's great to see you. I have to mention a comment over here. So, feminist, atheist, God is truth and righteousness. Michael, that's not only incoherent, um, like, I'm just really confused at what you're trying to get
God's
at there.
going to deal with it all when he comes back. Feminist, atheist, God is.
I don't know what that
I don't know what it
means.
means either. Honestly, I'm trying to.
I just
I feel
have
like
no
I missed
clue.
a few words in that sentence.
Anyway,
I'm
I
the
just had
only feminist atheist up here, and I think it's clear that he's trying to say I'm God, and you guys are just missing it. He's worshiping me, obviously.
fair enough. Fair enough. Queen Crystal. Our other guests still have not showed up. Crystal, would you like
Seth
to
is
ask
technically here now?
Seth, why didn't you join?
He's going. I guess he hasn't gone to dinner yet. He's going to dinner with our friend that's from out of town. She's in town, so it's if he doesn't go, then
This is my
opportunity.
shaming him right now. I'm shaming him with my look. No, go have fun with your friend Seth. We'll talk on the
I'll
phone
stick
soon.
around.
But anyway, Crystal, do you want to ask me, Benny, and Dr. some questions?
Some questions. Let's see.
All right, so
When
Dr.
when did you start to know that you were not like everybody else?
I'll start. So probably very very young. I think I've said this before. It's like when I started forming long term memory. I think is when I realized like, okay, yeah, there's something off, or like there's I'm different. I like am not really like falling into this kind of expected where like I didn't find certain like women like that attractive, even though I do like I find a very like specific type of person attractive. I have a type, but it's not really like who I am for the most part. Like for the most part, I'm just gay. So I figured that out like really, really early, and that was something like that you struggle with because you kind of know. I feel like the whole time, even though you
And
might
you don't really know what it is, right?
right,
Because you don't understand sexuality or any
right.
of that. So you just know I'm different. I don't really get what that difference is, but I'm different because I don't. That's not all not registering.
When like so ensues the internal battle, of like trying to force yourself to not have thoughts of a certain type or like to feel a certain way and like realizing that it's not a battle that you can really win, because
Yeah.
that's just part of who you are. So that's my answer.
What about you, Dr.?
Honestly, the earliest memory I really have is have like I think it was like the fourth grade when I had a crush on this girl and this guy at the same time. I don't know how old you are in the fourth grade, but that's like
11 or 12, probably
Yeah,
somewhere
like
around there.
11.
yeah, I would probably say 11. I kind of knew that there was something off. I was like, this is kind of weird. Probably shouldn't be, thinking, having like a little crush on somebody. But yeah, I would say I definitely knew a little early on than most.
That just like you just made me realize something. Like my first like girlfriend was a tomboy. Like she basically just and acted like one, and so it was pretty much like having a boyfriend.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of my ex girlfriends was definitely along the lines.
Yeah.
We met at a
She's talking to her new wife or girlfriend right now, saying one of my first.
Right.
She shared the same story. Joyful, what about you?
Um, I think mine would be more of knowing the like they them part of me, and I think that's because like my parents would get mad, like not mad, but they would like ask like why I wasn't playing with the boys and stuff because I would do a lot of things with my younger sisters, and I enjoyed like playing like the more girly things, painting my nails, stupid things like that, and my parents were like, no, you can't do that, kind of thing. But that was always like something that I didn't do, but I always wanted to. And I remember like inside being kind of mad that I wasn't allowed to paint my nails and express myself in more feminine ways. And so I think I knew that probably like 7, 8 years old. I was young. The first time I realized I had a crush on a guy, though, was probably I was probably in junior high, probably something like that. But I didn't really know anybody but my siblings before that because we were all like hermit homeschooled kids that just weren't allowed to be around the secular world. So there was that.
Do you remember the first time somebody said something mean or hateful because of the LGBTQIA community and it affected you? Whether it was about you personally or not, do you remember a time where you were like, wait, that's me. That's me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It was one of my brothers, I believe, uh, where I almost came out actually, because he said something like, "Oh, that's gay," or something like that, and I was just like, "So what if? What if I was?" Like, and I started getting all. I was ready for that battle before it even happened, but
You did want
I
somebody to
did.
fight you on this.
I
didn't
wanted to
you?
debate it. I
You
wanted to
you had
debate
that angst, didn't you?
it. Well, then it's just like I wanted to like shake everybody around me and just like but like all my close friends really helped me, like kind of come on and accept myself. But it was like the people that weren't really my close friends that would say offhand things like that I would like want to shake like and just be like, this is normal. This is not like the only reason you think this is wrong because you were brought up this way. Like there's not really like when you look at things, this is natural. Like this is just expected. Like you said earlier, and like even though I might not be a believer, but like God doesn't make mistakes, right? So like to me, that
Right,
really
right.
comes off as like why would in a Christian like worldview, why would it seem like being gay is wrong if you are made in the like image of your creator? And really that's the same like to an atheist that would be like saying it's natural. This is something that you see in nature. So like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just wrong because of, I guess, conservative thought, like not willing to really be open to that type of thing. It probably has some sort of relation to like, I guess, Protestants and Puritans, back in the early days. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like I even thought about like Greek societies back in the day, where I would say like, oh, like the Greeks, this was like an accepted thing that they have. This is not really like even something they even like bat an eye at. So I don't know. Like it just kind of was frustrating because I realized how much time and opportunity like I had missed to like kind of grow as a person.
Yeah, you talk about that time and opportunity, and I joked about it with you a minute ago, but the reality is there's a part of me that I can't stop thinking about time and opportunity our entire society missed because we have demonized people just being fucking people and loving people. Like it, when I really think about the scope of that, about how I, for one, am just starting to believe that most of life in general is on a spectrum. Love is a spectrum, gender is a spectrum, sexual preference is a spectrum. If we stop making everything so goddamn black and white and judging everybody if they didn't fall right into the right color spectrum or whatever spectrum we want to put them in or whatever, you got to land right here or there's something wrong with you. You know, think of how much more advanced society would be. Think of how much more love there would be if people would quit being, frankly, sexually repressed. I mean, think think about how much
You're
that
gross. You're
really this is
gross. You're
just
gross.
Larry, go away, baby. Anyway, just think about how many people literally are sexually repressed because of this
Yeah, talk about
insanity is what
sexually
it is,
repressed.
frankly.
That was sexual repression, like right there. That was just.
For sure.
Hey,
For
thou
sure.
protest too loudly. Um. Oh, you're fine, pink and blue. I get it. We're all busy, so if we can't make something like this, it's not a big deal. No problem at all. Larry, you are not coming up. I don't know why you would request backup. Dr. Joe, if you would like to come up, I think that was an accident, but you are more than welcome to come up, my friend. Um, yeah, I think that the first time for me that I felt that way was basically from the very beginning of my understanding that I was different because I was told that it was wrong, so I felt like I was doing something wrong. So I think that would be like as soon as I felt that I was the different person that they're talking about, like, and they like were like, no, you don't do that. Like I was like, now it's a me problem. Like I need to fix that about me. So I think it happened very young for me. Um, Once again, I would like to say thank you guys for being here. We'll be live for another half hour, probably 7:30 is probably going to be my cutoff because my wife, I have to drive her to the airport at 4. She's going on a work
What? Where's she going?
thing, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
Whoa,
She
cool.
she's going to be there until Wednesday. She'll come back next Wednesday.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Well, yeah, that's why we're having a live on Saturday night.
Oh,
So, but I do appreciate you guys being here. Please keep tapping them likes, those of you who are in here. If you have not followed Dr. Bridges yet, follow him. He does music, great music. He will not disappoint, I promise. And if he does, you can unfollow me.
Oh,
Okay?
So, Dr., do you have a time where you remember feeling that bigotry towards the LGBTQIA community and thinking that I'm part of that? That's me. That's me that they're talking about. Or did it happen to you directly or anything like that?
well, I kind of mentioned a little bit about just the apologies that I've had to make in the last couple of years since coming out and just being my authentic self. So for the ones who just have shown up and didn't get to hear a little bit of it, I was a pastor for a long time, and I was preaching against the very thing that who I was. I was so indoctrinated to the belief that I was this demonized person that I just didn't accept myself at all, and literally was telling people all kinds of things. So I was a part of the problem. I wasn't. So I think after I came out, now it's more of, I am a gay black man. So we gotta tack on. Okay, yes, I am now. It's like, so growing up, I was like kind of mentioned. I was raised in an all-white community, pretty much, for the most part, being adopted. So I got made fun of for one aspect of my life that I couldn't really help. Now let's tack on something else. now you're this and you're this. So I dealt with it in two different areas, but now it kind of just it doesn't really happen all that much, to be completely honest. Like I haven't really seen a lot of it. If it does, I don't know about it because they don't. It's all people who like to just talk behind people's backs and just as. But Um, but yeah, it's just a weird thing to be on both sides of it, just experiencing it and being a part of the problem, and then realizing, okay, you're not helping. You're a part of the community that you're so against.
I
Now,
know, I know this isn't like really about the like LGBTQ part of it all, but like my best friend growing up was like the only black kid in our like whole school, and we were like best friends. He's straight, by the way. We weren't like little, you know, boyfriends and
Okay,
everything.
all right. No, I'm just kidding.
I saw firsthand, like it really opened my eyes just how different he was treated like compared to me. It like broke my heart. It still breaks my heart because I also think about like how our friends would act and say things and just how hard that had to have been. Uh so like I definitely like know what you mean like when you're describing these things like to have that like double whammy. That had to have been rough. It would be rough.
And just like the fact that you did have that double whammy, as Benny put it, um, I think it just speaks to show people that, like, who in their right mind would choose that? Like, this isn't a choice you made in your life. You would not go, hey, I'm already being treated like shit for one thing in my life, let me go become a part of another community that has so much vitriol towards it. That's not going to be something you go, yeah, that's what I want you
I
know
felt, that, I it's funny you say that because I'm like, there's aspects of my life I can't change. My skin color, I can change that. That's not changing. If I could have, I remember going into churches, pretty much all white churches. No offense, but all white churches, and
I'm
None
taken.
taken.
being
Yeah.
the only person there of color, and feeling so out of place because no one ever came to say hi. No one ever, and it's like, what is he doing here? And it wasn't all the time, but I'm a pretty social person. I will go up and talk to whoever. Like, I am a social butterfly. Ask anybody who knows me. They're like, oh yeah, DR is like all over the place. But the other aspect of it is, yeah, these I knew at a very young age that I was gay and that I felt these attractions towards other guys. I knew, but I would have never said anything to any of my Christian friends. Like, I would never, because I knew at the moment I said it, I would lose them. And in some aspects, I did. And it was, I was one of the ones that was putting Bible verses on all this stuff and doing all the things. And like I said, I can't be a part of a culture. I can't be a part. How do I say this? Some people think that the church sometimes is a culture of love and grace, and sometimes it's actually a culture of a lot of unhealthy things.
It's a supremacy culture.
Yes.
The entire religion is a supremacy culture. And it's really hard coming out of that because you're thinking that you are told that it's about love and stuff, but you're not seeing that. You see quite the opposite, which causes a lot of cognitive dissonance. That's what causes it. It's very confusing, right? But the reality is that Christians, they even think they're better than other Christians. Every Christian is the right Christian. Everything about it. Like, the God tells you at the beginning, I'm not the only God, but I'm the best God. I'm the best God. I'm the most powerful God. I'm the greatest God. I mean, he's literally Trump, okay? He literally is. And that's why they love Trump, because Yahweh is Trump. I have the greatest creation ever. It's the best you could ever see. It's a supremacy culture. And it's because the whole religion is based on that. My people are the greatest. My people are allowed to do whatever they want. They do not have to adhere to boundaries that you give them, because I'm God and I'm telling them to break down those boundaries. Go take captive who you want to take captive of, enslave who you want to enslave, do what you want to do, because you're doing it in my name. And they're still doing it today, as we know, you know. And then, and when you're indoctrinated into that, you start thinking you're better than everybody too, you know. I'm sorry, you do. You think I'm chosen. I'm gonna be. I'm. Are you talking? There is a warfare going on about principalities here, and I am on the king's side, and he's got me because I'm, you know. But at the same time, you're also told you're a piece of shit and a dirty rag, so that's confusing. Anyway, it is supremacy culture.
It was just a little rant.
I digress.
It's okay, Crystal. The rants are the rants. Yeah, there's. I think a lot of, like, a kid I grew up with, okay, for instance, in a church that, like, I grew up in, my dad helped plant the church. The church I grew up in, there was a kid I grew up all through youth group, everything with. When he became an adult, he came out as gay. His dad was a very active member in the church, and they were told that they told Herman, you can come, but your son isn't welcome here. Like, we do not support this lifestyle, and we don't want to let the younger people see this lifestyle and think that we support it. And, like, like, I remember, like, watching that and just thinking, dude, this dude has served this church for 20 years. And you're just, like, going to tell him that piss on your son, basically, because he's gay. And I remember even as a Christian at the time and being like, thinking it was a sin to be gay, I even remember at the time, like, that isn't right. Like, that isn't right. I don't know. And now thinking back on it is, I was right, it wasn't right, but for several other reasons than even what I realized at that point.
I think that, like, it's interesting because I think that religion and Christianity has the ability, obviously, like, you said you go to, like, an affirming church. Mm-hmm. Like, why couldn't that have been, you know, like, that the whole time? You know, it's just, it's wild. But at least there's, you know, like, improvements that are being made in that area. Like, whereas before, you know, back in the day, it was not like that at all. You know, and I think that, you know, like, in the deconstruction space, it's kind of rough because a lot of the people that debate and stuff would be kind of, they don't like to give really too much credence to any, like, religion. But I think that, you know, if anything, at least, like, make Christianity appealing is what I always think of, like, to the unbeliever. Like, if you really want to save somebody's soul, why would you, like, push people away and stuff? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It would make more sense to like, bring people in and be more like, kind of like the character of Jesus is, like, you know, or how it's understood in the Bible. Got you, Crystal.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't notice you there, Crystal. Sorry. YouTube. I'm still reading the comments on YouTube. It's delightful.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, did that make sense? Like, I'm just saying, like, Christianity really is, like, kind of, people have made it what they've, like, interpreted the Bible to be nowadays. So it's already, like, something that's kind of changing. Even though people call it objective, things like that, it does evolve in ways. And, you know, we do find out more information. We do find extra, uh, transcripts and the manuscripts of things, and then you find out, oh wait, that's not what they meant actually, like with this verse, stuff like that. And I just don't understand why it like a religion would push people away if like their whole like point is to like save others.
Would the answer to that not be fear?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, great, I feel really clever now, thank you. Yes.
Nice to see you, Hobbs.
How you been,
Thanks for-
Joyful? You well?
Yeah, I've been doing well. We're just doing some LGBTQIA talk, and we're gonna once a month have Happy Pride Day, Pride 365, and just kind of like discuss it a little bit and discuss new ways that our channels can help promote the support of the LGBTQIA community. So
Yeah.
fine.
Fine.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
And that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Before we continue on, it's time for a little commercial break, you guys. Thank you all for being here. I know there's 15 of you and y'all been working hard tapping that screen, but if you could just tap it a little bit more for me, let's get that up to 20,000 in the next 15 minutes. If everybody taps, we can get it there. And don't forget, Joyful has a gift goal tonight of the hats and the mustaches. If you would like to see him be a rock hard looking hot cowboy, just send him up them hats and mustaches. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm on something tonight or something.
Yeah, you
I
are.
don't know. But anyway, send those up. Also, don't forget, you can gift any of these amazing panelists tonight. Every time you send a rose, lightning bolt, or what have you, you are help boosting out the live. And make sure you're sharing the screen, share the live with people. It's down the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, a little arrow there. You could copy the link several times. You can send it to your Discord, send it to your friends, your enemies, your frenemies. But let's get the live shared out. And thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Happy Pride, everybody. We love you guys.
Crystal, do you do like advertising as a job, or is this just like a part-time thing?
No. No,
She's just
it's
really
not my
good
job.
at
Pretty good.
I wish I should get paid.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I gotta get
Joyful,
paid first,
let me
and
buy
then
that fucking cowboy thing. I'll send it to her instead. That was awesome. Good work. Pay that, baby. God
Really
damn.
good at it.
yeah.
So I gotta go meet my friend for dinner, but I just wanted to add real quick, maybe just like drop this little grenade in the conversation. But what do we think about the idea of affirming churches? Because personally, and Benny and I were talking about this, I think like just yesterday, how it just seems like I'm just kind of like, fuck that.
Can I ask what you
Like-
mean by affirming? What's affirming?
Like churches that are accepting of queer people.
Right, okay.
And I mean, there are varying levels of that, but you know, you'll see some that are like, you're allowed to be a member, or like you're allowed to go to church here,
But there's varied levels
but
of
you can't have
acceptance.
any leadership positions,
Okay.
things
Okay,
like
thank you.
that. And some are like, you know, very open and liberal, but like, I think personally, it just seems like at the core, to me, the religion is homophobic. There is
Absolutely.
not really a way around that.
Would you
And
not have
so-
to compartmentalize it to make that work? Would that
Yeah,
be fair?
exactly. And it just seems like a Band-Aid on, you know, a grave wound. Like, it's not, it doesn't make up for all the, you know, bigotry and stuff that queer people have had to put up with from this religion,
I was going to ask.
specifically.
Sorry, I've got ADHD. I do try and wait. I don't mean
Oh,
by
you're
that.
fine.
I apologise.
You're fine.
Is the reason that homosexuality is generally less accepted in the States also due to the religiosity? Because it's not generally an issue in Europe, to my
That's
experience.
what I hear, and yeah, I would say again, yeah, like it goes back to that. A lot of it goes back to that.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I mean, for argument's sake, I'm not gay, but I've never had any issues, and I've always had gay friends in my circle. But my
Yeah.
family's not religious. But I would have been raised Roman Catholic, and my granddad, I can guarantee you, may have had more issues with it than, let's say, I would have in my youth, because he was more religious. Because society here was more religious, but it's not now. So, yeah.
Hey, gentlemen, I have to step away for a minute. I'll be back in about 15, okay?
Have to advertise
Well-
somewhere else. That's okay. You're a woman in demand.
Well, I've got to get off of here in 9 minutes. So, Crystal, this is you signing off, I guess.
So this is kind of where Seth and I
Okay.
sort of. I don't like. Seth he was raised, more fundamental. I was not. I was pretty much atheist from the second I saw a really scary statue of Jesus. And when I think of it now, like affirming churches and stuff, like for Christianity, I think of it as kind of a net positive, like kind of like if you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing,
That's like Roman Catholicism with evolution. They're like that. Well, they're kind of right, and we look like idiots if we say otherwise. So we might as well say that they're right, and we agree with them.
Well, and even though impact over intent too, I agree with Seth there that there is a lot of bigotry and phobia that is behind it, but I don't know how much of that is after the fact, and it was more of people trying to push agendas kind of after with the way they took things. Like the Church of England changed a lot of things. The Roman Catholics, the Romans changed a lot of things.
But don't forget that it was part of Roman culture and Greek culture prior to Catholicism that not only was homosexuality accepted, it was actually custom.
Right.
So,
I was saying that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the issue in the rub, with people like me and Seth, where we are kind of I don't want to say I'm anti-Christianity, because I have seen religion help people, and I do think that some people use it for themselves personally and keep that to themselves, and it helps them in ways, like mental health ways even. A lot of therapists and stuff will talk about how religion can having that higher power can help with the soothing and things like that. So I think at some point, this is just my thoughts, is affirming churches, I think, have a net good value. In an ideal world for me, from my worldview, eventually that would even phase out, and it would just be everybody just cares about everybody and loves everybody, no God needed for that. But I think that it's a step in the right direction, so I don't know that stifling it is a good idea. I don't know that that's for me, I see it as a step in the right direction.
I think any society that sees it as a step in the right direction is right. I mean, I certainly here, we wouldn't condone what was happening with ISIS in Syria, throwing homosexuals off the roofs of buildings, and I don't think many would in America as well. But, it's something that certain parts of the Middle East wouldn't be entirely opposed to it, as opposed to taking part in it. I think it's going to be a generational change as opposed to a policy change. I think it's something that is going to happen over kids and grandkids where they're not brought up with hatred. It's something, but that has to start, I think, with, for example, affirmation, as you mentioned.
Yeah. DR, you had something to say? It looked like you were going to say something.
I've been going to an affirming church for a little bit over a year now, and I can boldly say that if it wasn't for that church and those people at that church, I don't know if I would even have faith for myself. Now, when I say that, I do realize that there's a lot of trauma. There's so much trauma that I had to unpack to deal with in my own self, and I also know just in the community as a whole. When you mention church to other individuals, it's not a conversation we want to talk about. But the amount of people that I know, especially, and I can only go in my own instance in this situation, but the amount of people that I know in the church that I'm a part of who have come from really just horrible backgrounds when it comes to just being hurt and just trauma and all these different things, and so you have all these people coming together, still wanting to have some sense of community, still wanting to have some sense of belief. I think that's a pretty powerful thing. But I do agree with what you guys are saying too, because I know that it's a touchy subject.
No, and I think, like, for me and Seth, somebody that's been so ingrained, and you were too, and we just dealt with it a different way. We grew I was like, when I started deconstructing, and it's like, this part of it isn't true, like, it can't be true, then I'm like, I don't believe any of it. Like, everything I was told was a lie, so now I'm just throwing out all of it, and I'm going to try to figure out from there, from a mindset of not having any belief, what is true. And so, like, I think, like, Seth being very, like, so much of it is harmful that I don't think that this makes up for it. I don't think it makes up for it. I don't think that white people having lives or whatever, trying to, like, show, like, that white supremacy is wrong makes white supremacy okay all of a sudden. It doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't make the oppression white people have had on the black community okay now. So I think that's how I kind of look at it. It's the same kind of thing. It's a step in the right direction. People are making a forward step, and so let's keep that forward step. But Seth, you had something?
Yeah, I just, like, DR, I'm sorry if I offended you when I was talking about that. I just obviously have a grudge and am a hater, but, like, I definitely see the other side. Like, if you want to still, like, take part in that, 100%, like, that's great. And, like, I am happy that there are places for people like you, and like, where you don't have to worry about, like, you can take part in something that you feel is a part of you without that fear of judgment, or like, oh, like, you have to choose one or the other. Like, that's like the shittiest thing, is the fact that there are places where they're like, well, you were one of us until you, like, revealed this core part of you, and now you're not. And that's just, yeah, really messed up. But yeah, for me and Joyful, like he said, it's like part two things, where, like, it doesn't make sense to us, we don't believe anymore, and we had that aspect of the homophobia and all that.
The
Yeah.
universal
Go ahead, Hobbs.
was going to say you're not necessarily an atheist or have lost your belief because of your sexuality. It's just something that you've looked at as part of it. It's not
Yeah, it
yourself.
definitely pushed me
Yeah.
in that direction. Because
Well,
it's like, not only do I not believe this anymore, but I am constantly surrounded by just conversations that are just like against who I am, and just the way that people casually talk about it.
yeah.
It's like I'm standing right here. I was gonna say Crystal had a question about, like, I know you got to go, Joyful. I do too. My friend I think is waiting for me, but this is a really good conversation.
No, and it's fine. I ain't on like a strict timer. I just want to spend time with my wife before bed, and she's gonna be gone
for sure.
And
but
during bed as well, obviously. You know what I mean?
I was thinking about my Sunday school teacher, and he was also our youth leader, like just all around terrible person, like fuck that guy. He would frequently say, like, in Sunday school, that's so gay. That's so gay. Like, thinking he was so funny, and I'm just like, you're a Sunday school teacher. It's one thing to be against it. It's another thing to just like throw that out like that. And then I also remember he like brought up something with Oprah, and I think it was Oprah being accepting of Ellen when she came out, and this girl in the audience had a meltdown about it and was saying like, oh, it was against God, and like, how can you, because Oprah is a Christian, and it's like, oh, how can you identify or like accept gay people, like, if you're a Christian? Like, the Bible is very clearly a different against that. And how, like, he was just so proud of that girl for standing up for her faith, and it just things like that I think back, and it's like, this is in church. Like, aren't all people supposed to feel accepted here? And just thinking, like, you never know who's around you, or like who could be hearing these things. Thinking of myself and just like hurting inside, but not being able to say anything about it because it would just make it worse.
Our junior high school Sunday school teacher I've told Benny about this.
I've heard this story too.
Oh yeah, the FAG barbecue service, and he'd literally just go through the Bible saying all the reasons that being gay was wrong. It was like, looking back, like back then, like everybody was like, oh, that's so funny, blah blah blah. But like, looking back on it, I am horrified, like, that was a thing.
Did he list any of the positives, like amazing parties and the good dress sense and stuff like that? I bet he did.
He didn't. He didn't mention any of that.
Cherry picking, that's classic from religion.
Right,
well,
I
guys,
love you guys. I really gotta drop.
Love you, Seth. Love you, Seth.
Nice to meet you, Hobbs and DR.
Oh, Hobbs dropped out too. See ya, Hobbs.
Nice meeting you, DR. It was great to have you up here.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
And like I said, I will schedule this once a month, and you are welcome on my panel every time. Guys, if you are in the chat and you have not followed DR, follow DR. He has amazing music. If you are less than satisfied with his music after following him, unfollow me. It's fine. I'll take the hit. But I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. He is an amazing guy. Love his story. The little bit I heard the other day was like, I've got to get him for our Pride night. And he was more than willing to come, which was amazing. I appreciate that. DR, you are welcome. We have we have quite the community here of people that are following you right now are probably part of that community. It's a deconstruction community. Some stay with the faith and just deconstruct a lot of the toxic shit that come with it. A lot of us are atheists, as you've seen. Like, we've just completely washed ourselves clean of it. But yeah, you are more than welcome. We have a Discord called Deconstruction Junction on Discord. If you have a Discord, you are more than welcome. How many people do we have in there now, Benny?
It's like almost 3,700.
3,700 people, and like there's a bunch of different people that do lives. There's a bunch of stuff in there. There's a bunch of like question and answer things. On Saturdays they do a little like group chat. What is it called, Benny?
Saturday Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. That's what it's called.
We also
and
do
people
fundraising. We also do
fundraising. Actually, I was a recipient of fundraising. It was very much needed for me and my family, and these wonderful people stepped up and took care of us. And yeah, it's an amazing community. We look out for each other. We love each other, and I would be more than happy to have you be a part of it. Yeah, and again, I'll let you know when we do these lives, or if you see me live anytime, you're more than welcome to come join us. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you all three. All amazing. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Amazing.
Good
right
luck.
on, man. I will be in touch. This was a great live. With the numbers weren't there, but who cares? Like, these are the important things. Like, the debates are fun and we get numbers and all that, but I started doing this to make a difference. And if it means low numbers sometimes, it's low numbers sometimes. I don't like, that's what it's about. It's not about anything else for me.
Not about money. It's not about the numbers.
But except for you, Benny, you haven't.
I'm sorry.
You need to
I'm
send me
outta
some
here.
money.
Bye, guys.
Anyway, see you guys. Love y'all.